I'm Lizzie. Each week I'm bringing along a different origami fold to encourage you to take some time out for yourself, self-care time through doing some origami. And it's such a challenging but exciting and fun thing to do that you'll find you forget to think of anything else. Your mind will be so fully engaged. It's a great practical technique. It also means that you can make beautiful things which will lift your spirits and will be lovely as gifts for others as well. I'm really excited about this fold. I'm thinking about stars at this time. It's a dark month. You can see it's quite dark at the moment. All my little lights twinkling away, and thinking about stars as they show up beautifully against the darkness, and how we need to encourage our own little sparkle. So I'm focusing on stars, and this is a star which I've been kind of building up courage for actually. It's something called the Froebel star, and it's more like weaving actually. It's different, it's a little bit different. It is paper folding, it's kind of weaving, and originally from either Germany or maybe Scandinavia. It's been credited with Friedrich Froebel, who was quite an astonishing man. Born in 1782 in Germany, he came up with the concept of kindergarten. I mean, what a lovely word. Kinder, children, garden. And he had background in forestry, in crystallography, and he recognised the need for doing beautiful, practical, playful things for children to develop, and created what I call Froebel gifts. So starting with little soft balls and then going on to spheres and bricks, and then wood with string through it. Just this idea of learning through doing and practical skills, and that being the basis of kindergarten, that each child has their own individual needs, but I think that continues through life. The need to be playful and creative and nurturing yourself as well. So also called the Danish star as well actually, so it's a little bit unclear where this has come from. It's very much weaving, and it's something a little bit different, so I'm really excited about sharing this with you. So you can either do ones which are sort of double-sided or single-sided, and then they kind of flatten a bit more easily. I have also been playing, so in this case I just stuck one to the other. I really like that effect, the whites with the colourful on the other side. They feel amazing, and I found as well that you could thread one into another. So if you have 6, it's like a cube. It doesn't look anything like a cube. It reminded me almost of a pomegranate, this sort of top of a pomegranate, and that's a really beautiful complex shape, and that was just weaving them through. So maybe that's something you could do as well. I can share with you how I did that. So this is going to be fun. This is going to be, you're going to have to pace yourself, and I may be having to check what I'm doing as well, because actually I've just had a go, and doing it in the mirror in effect this way is quite hard on my brain, so I may be having to check myself. So there are also other videos, but hopefully you will get the hang with me, and just take your time and be kind. So what you need to do is cut centimetre strips. If you've got A4 paper, centimetre strips, you need 4 of them, maybe different colours. I think it looks really good in different colours. A pair of scissors as well, and let's get going. So we're gonna give it a go. Here we go. Right, so I've got my 4 strips, and I'm simply going to fold them in half first of all. So just taking them, folding them in half, like so. There we go. Folding them in half. Very relaxing. And I couldn't resist some nice colours going on there. There we go. Now we're going to make the ends a little bit almost like they're needles to be able to thread things through. So I'm just simply going to take each of these and cut off the end. There we go. Cutting off the end. Cutting off the end. So it's just a bit of an angle. It just will help later on. Right, so I've got my 4 pieces. Next, I am going to take 2, and I'm going to, if you look, for each piece you've got an open end and a looped end. So I'm going to have one looped end there, and you're going to do the opposite with the other one. So loop there, and it's the same really with these. So we've got a loop here with an open end. So I am actually going to, oh sorry, you can't see that, can you? I'm going to take this looped end and push it through the middle of the other one. So here the loop has gone over the open end, and here it's tucked through that loop there. So it's kind of the opposite to each other. Again, this is an open end, so it's going to have a loop, and the loop will go over the open end. You can see how it takes a little bit of courage to get going, but you will get there. And then the open end will tuck through the loop. So then our next move is just to sort of shuffle them up. If you think of trying to get everything, we're going to want to get these looped ends all together. So I am pushing the looped ends towards each other to come into the middle, like so. And so they're beginning to come together, can you see? And I'm going to just shuffle them all together. Just very satisfying how it will. Here we go. Come together like that. Lovely. So it should look like such a nice little tidy shape. Isn't that lovely? Like this. Now I think I'm going to have to work down on my lap, because I found I was trying to do it into camera and I just couldn't. I couldn't do it because it's like working in a mirror and everything. It's not quite working the way it should do for me. So, okay. So next step, we've got our nice little square. So here I'm going to take a bottom edge and I'm going to bring it up, and I'm going to go now to the next one along. So the next colour along here, taking that top layer and folding it over. And then again the next colour, next top layer, and then folding down. And then again the final colour here, I am bringing up and over. And for it all to nicely hang together, I'm next going to take this top layer and I'm going to thread it underneath. Just like so. See how I was saying about wanting it to be like a needle and then pulling it through. There we go. So you've got a really nice tidy little structure there. Isn't that a lovely thing? There we go. So we're going to start making these sort of pointy little bits before we work on the inside. So how to do that. Right, so for each of these I'm going to take my top edge there and I'm going to fold it underneath itself. Can you see I'm lifting that up and I'm bringing it down so it lines up, and then I am taking it and lining it up down there. That's it. And then I'm going to swing it over itself, and you then need to thread in this loose end to the loop underneath. So I'm going to tilt this back. I guess I grabbed that little point and then I threaded it through there like so. There we go. Oh, it went all the way through there almost. There we go. There we go. So you've got a nice little sticky up point. And you're going to now go to the next side. And the same thing again. We're going to take this one and you can see I'm bringing it back underneath itself. Lining up at the side. Taking this and lining it down. So it's very involved. This is, I guess, this is weaving really. It is a little bit different, isn't it, from the origami? And then folding over, but it is all folding. Again, tilting this back, and then I'm gonna, there we go, thread that through, like so. Looking nice. And again, next side, turning it through 90 degrees, Again, just taking that top layer and then folding it back. There we go, lining it up and then taking this edge, bringing it down like so. And again, taking this and folding it over itself. And you've got a nice little point there. Again, tilting that back. Taking this and threading it through. I guess I'm holding on to the point underneath. You can't really quite see, but I'm holding on to that point while pulling this through. There we go, getting that. And again, turning it around to the next side. Same thing again, taking this one, folding it underneath itself, taking this side, folding it down. Definitely doesn't feel like kindergarten material, does it, this? And then folding it into itself, I think challenging for most adults. So the idea this could be for kindergarten, no, I don't think so. And again, threading it through. There we go. So we've got, you can see a lovely star is beginning to form. Now I'm going to turn it to the back and it's the same thing. Again, I'm going to take the side, fold it underneath itself so it lines up. And then again, taking this and folding it down, lining it up. And then folding it into itself, make that little point. And again, tilting it back, holding onto the point and threading it in. I can see why people just sped up film with this. It just takes time, doesn't it? But I guess that's the whole point. It's about taking your time. Great. Next side. And again, underneath itself. And then down. And into itself. And again, tilting it back. And threading it through. Great. Next side. So we'll end up again underneath itself with a kind of 8-pointed star, which is already very lovely. And then we'll work on the sort of interesting points on top of it. Again, bringing it up into itself. It's definitely one I found I need full concentration for. Hence me doing it this way. I was attempting, as I said, to do it earlier straight into the camera, but it didn't work. So I'm having to do it this way. Maybe it would have worked a second time, but it always takes such a time to do this that it's better to do it so I'm able to. There we go. Lining it up. Bring it in on itself. Tilting it back and bring it through. There we go. Lovely. So I have actually got a sort of 8-pointed star. I can feel there's the points underneath. Right. Next to work on the top. So I'm going to turn it round and I'm going to move these pieces. So I end up with here a point sticking out, first point sticking out, and then the second one going up, so that you have two pieces of paper going up with each other, but as long as each point is corresponding. So this is like the first point, so I'm going to go now over here to make sure that that point sticks out, but the next one is covered up. So it's kind of alternating. As long as you do it logically, I think it should work out. So that's what I'm trying to do, is shift them round until they are all, so you can see first point sticking out, first point, first point, first point. Okay, and what to do now? So hopefully this will work this time. So I'm going to take this piece here and I'm going to fold diagonally like so. So I'm taking this point here, by a little point here, and I'm folding it in diagonally. I'm then pushing it back and I'm taking this edge and I'm going to push it through, and then I'm going to, you see it's coming out there, I'm going to pull this through, and a little point, this lovely little point is emerging. It's quite a strong little point. Turn it around and do the next one. So again, it's this top layer, I am folding back diagonally, and then I'm pushing it back, and then I'm taking this point and pushing it through. If you find that it's not quite going through, you can always cut off a little width with the scissors. I think I might have to do that with this one. So I think they're not necessarily as even as I would like them to do, so I'm just going to do that. That will probably help. Another thing you can do is put your scissors through, yeah, fine ones, and just open up that hole. There we go. As soon as it starts emerging through there, then you'll be able to pull it through. Going to take that out and just, I'm going to push that through. I'm not adding any extra, but I don't know if you can see, I'm just pushing that point through, so I know that there's definitely somewhere for that to go through. And I should be able to feed it through. That's it. As soon as I get a little bit of colour, then I should be able to grab the end and pull it through. She says. Pulling it through. That's made this lovely effect. And then the next one. Again, this little layer here, I'm folding diagonally there. And then pushing it back out of the way, taking this point and pushing it through. There we go. And then final side. Again, this area I'm going to then lift up, fold back diagonally, lift it up and out of the way. I'll also post a link to the YouTube video that I learnt this from, because I was hoping to be able to show you nice and cleanly into the camera, but I definitely found it was a limit to what my brain could take. So yeah, there we go. Hopefully it's worked for you. So what you can do is you can, if you're happy, you can just keep it like this, as just pointed on one side. You can do the same thing on the back. I'm not going to show you that now, but that's another thing. I've ended up liking them just with the points on one side, but you can do the same weaving idea on the back. And then when you're happy, you can actually cut off this little bit of paper, so you end up with just a nice little neat star. So that's one thing. There we go. Just taking this and cutting each one like so. A lovely star is revealed. There we go. And then final, like so. And I rather like that. Another option is if you leave those ends hanging out, hanging over the edge like this, then I found that you could if you're very careful, weave this one into the next. So each of these has actually got a hole, which is how you're able to weave one through the other. So you can push this through both those layers and start linking them. And that's how I got to make the interesting shape that I showed you before. So you can find that you will be able to push one into the other. It'll take a little time, you have to be patient, and obviously you've got both layers there, and you'll be able to pull it through and in the end snip it off, but they will start to link together, and that's how I ended up making this thing. So which in effect is a cube, so if you have 6 they will all link to each other like so, which is rather nice. I hope you've managed that. As I said, if you're finding it tricky, don't worry, it is a bit tricky, and I found it tricky to do into the screen, which is how I had to look down to see what I was doing. But I will post a link to a video which is how I learned, and you may find that much clearer. I think really it probably does need filming down on the hands, which would be easier with this more complex technical fold. But I thought it was fun to throw into the mix, and it is such a lovely fold. I thoroughly recommend you, if you haven't been able to do it from this video, have a go at the other one and you'll be able to go. I often change the speed, slow down the speed of a video, and you can have a look. So I hope that was interesting. It's definitely a challenge, and you'll feel such a sense of achievement if you can make your own Froebel style. Thanks a lot.